Ashwagandha is one of those supplements I used to see on shelves and just walk past, not really sure what it was or if it was worth my time. But as someone who struggles with health anxiety, I've learned that I can't just ignore things that might help me feel calmer, healthier, and more in control of my body and mind. I want to give myself every possible advantage, every tool I can use to reduce stress, strengthen my immune system, and keep my body running smoothly. And ashwagandha has turned out to be one of those tools. Ashwagandha is what's called an adaptogen. That means it helps the body adapt to stress and restore balance, no matter which direction things are going. Too much stress hormone, it helps bring it down. Too little energy, it helps bring it up. That balancing effect is why Ayurvedic medicine has used it for over 3,000 years to treat fatigue, low energy, poor memory, and even anxiety. At first, I thought that was just folklore. But over the last 2 decades, science has started catching up, and now there's solid evidence that ashwagandha really does affect stress, sleep, energy, immunity, and overall resilience. For people like me, the most important benefit is stress reduction. Health anxiety is basically living with a smoke alarm that never stops going off. Every little ache or flutter feels like danger, and that constant state of hypervigilance keeps stress hormones, especially cortisol, sky high. High cortisol doesn't just make you feel anxious, it puts strain on your heart, weakens your immune system, and wears down your body. Multiple clinical studies have shown that ashwagandha can lower cortisol levels significantly, sometimes by as much as 25–30%. And the people in those studies didn't just have lower numbers on a lab test. They reported feeling calmer, less anxious, and more in control. For someone like me, that's a huge deal. That ties directly into sleep, another area where ashwagandha shines. When cortisol is too high, your nervous system can't relax enough for deep sleep. You toss and turn, or you wake up in the middle of the night with racing thoughts. I know that cycle all too well. But ashwagandha seems to help regulate the sleep-wake cycle, possibly by increasing calming neurotransmitters like GABA and serotonin. In clinical trials, people not only fell asleep faster but stayed asleep longer and reported better quality rest. I noticed that after a few weeks of taking ashwagandha, I was waking up less often, and when I did, I could actually fall back asleep instead of lying there with my mind running wild. Ashwagandha also has fascinating effects on the brain. Stress and anxiety can literally damage neurons over time, shrinking parts of the brain linked to memory and focus. Some studies suggest ashwagandha can protect those neurons, encourage new nerve connections, and even improve memory and reaction times. That's important for anyone, but especially for people with health anxiety who often fear memory loss or dementia. Knowing there's something natural that supports cognitive health helps me shift from worrying about decline to actually protecting my brain. On a practical level, I've noticed more clarity and less mental fog since adding it to my routine. It's not just the mind that benefits. Ashwagandha also improves physical energy and performance. Research shows it can increase muscle strength, endurance, and even VO2 max, which measures how efficiently your body uses oxygen during exercise. At first, I thought that only mattered for athletes, but I realized it matters for me too. Exercise is one of the most effective ways I manage health anxiety. It burns off adrenaline, lowers stress hormones, and helps me sleep. But when I'm exhausted or unmotivated, getting started is hard. Ashwagandha gives me a subtle boost that makes exercise feel more doable, and once I'm moving, everything else falls into place. Another area where ashwagandha is useful is immune function. Stress and anxiety suppress immunity, which only fuels the worry cycle. You feel run down, then you worry about getting sick, which makes you even more run down. Ashwagandha has been shown to increase the activity of natural killer cells, which are part of your body's first line of defense against infections. It also reduces inflammation, which plays a role in many chronic diseases. For me, this isn't about becoming invincible, it's about stacking the odds in my favor so I feel more secure and less fragile. Ashwagandha may also help with blood sugar and heart health. Some research shows it lowers blood sugar by improving insulin sensitivity. Other studies link it to reductions in cholesterol and triglycerides. Since stress and anxiety already put strain on the cardiovascular system, anything that lightens that load is valuable. When I take ashwagandha, I feel like I'm not just calming my mind in the short term, but also investing in my long-term health. That makes it easier to step out of the constant fear loop that health anxiety creates. Hormones are another area where ashwagandha has an impact. In men, it's been shown to increase testosterone and fertility, but more broadly, it seems to support thyroid function. Thyroid imbalance can mimic or worsen anxiety, causing fatigue, mood swings, and racing thoughts. Knowing that ashwagandha helps keep that system balanced adds another layer of reassurance for me. Now let's talk about the practical side, how to take it and how much you need. Ashwagandha usually comes as a root extract in capsules, powders, or tinctures. Capsules are easiest for consistent dosing, while powders can be blended into smoothies or warm drinks. Most studies use doses between 300 and 600 milligrams of standardized extract per day. Some people take more under medical guidance, but that range seems to deliver most of the benefits without issue. One thing I had to remind myself is that ashwagandha isn't an instant fix. You don't take it once and suddenly feel calm. It works gradually, with most studies showing benefits after 4 to 8 weeks. Personally, I noticed my stress felt lighter after about 2 weeks, my sleep started improving after 3, and by the end of 2 months I felt like it had become a steady foundation in my routine. As far as safety goes, ashwagandha is generally well tolerated, but it isn't for everyone. People with autoimmune conditions, thyroid disorders, or who are pregnant should check with a doctor first. That part can be tricky for someone with health anxiety, because it's easy to spiral into worrying about side effects. I've had those moments of, what if it interacts with something else I'm taking? But compared to most medications, ashwagandha has a very good safety record. For me, just checking with a healthcare professional helped quiet that worry. The bigger picture here is that ashwagandha addresses both the mind and the body. It reduces stress and anxiety, improves sleep, sharpens focus, boosts energy, strengthens the immune system, and supports long-term resilience. Health anxiety makes it easy to obsess over symptoms and fear illness, but having positive habits and supplements like this shifts the focus to action. Instead of scanning my body for danger, I can tell myself, I'm taking steps to protect my health today. That mental shift is powerful. So ashwagandha has earned a permanent spot in my daily health routine, right alongside exercise, healthy eating, and other supplements I trust. It's not a miracle cure, and I don't expect it to erase my anxiety completely, but it gives me another anchor. Every capsule I take is a small act of reassurance that I'm calming my mind, strengthening my body, and investing in my future. And for anyone living with health anxiety, those anchors really matter. They give us stability, peace of mind, and a sense of control we often feel we're missing.